stuff together here. What's up? Trying to get my stuff together here. Give me a minute here. I'm gonna have my stuff together soon. Great morning, great morning, great morning. How are you? How are you? How are you? Whoever you are, let me know who you are in the chat. Trying to get my things together here. Give me a one and a two here. You got all right, great morning. We have a second. I got a real serious thing I want to talk about this morning. I want to talk about unity, as I said, and in the description. What does it look like? We got man, it's there's some sad things going on out in our world today, and I want to have a conversation about this thing called unity because here we are. We're trying to have a unity festival, right? And I want to make sure that we're on the same page with this thing called unity. Let me know where you in from and share this live. Share the live if you can. Please share the live. We're planning this festival. For those who don't know, and just for clarity's sake, I'm still got to go from the village board, the village of Newark board to make sure I get their approval and their blessing to go forward. But I don't see any problems with that happening. So we're going to talk about it. Unity Festival, Wayne County Unity Festival 2022 or 2023. Ooh, 2022 was a good one. We had a good time. And if you go to my website, WayneMBK.com, I have photos from 2023's Unity Festival, 2022's Unity Festival in there. But I want to talk this morning about I want to talk a little bit about unity. A little bit about where does this idea come from? What does it look like? What are we trying to create? Because honestly, man, yeah, look here. Uh, when we look at what's going on in the world today, I wonder, will unity ever show up? Will it ever be a thing that we actually have? I question that seriously, and being the pusher and the guy behind this idea of this Wayne County Unity Festival, it really troubles me when I really think about that. So my question today is going to be around in our conversation. I'm hoping I get some interaction here. If you're watching me, man, y'all watching, put some. I want to hear from. I want to hear from you because this festival that I'm planning, I'm trying to work on. Got everybody getting together with on. It's not my festival. All right, this ain't the James Schuler thing. All right, this is Wayne MBK. This is a community thing. This is a thing that spreads farther than just me. So I don't want anyone to think that this is something that I want to do. Because I'm telling you, man, I got so much stuff going on that um, if no one else wants to do this, then they say, hey, I don't want to do this, and then I don't think unity is a good idea just yet, and we ain't trying to go that way, and then I won't waste my time because this is a passion that I want us to come together. I want us to be able to work together, live together, understand each other, but I understand that this can't be something that I sit back and say I have the power to make happen. No, I have the ability, and I'm willing to be courageous enough to say, come on out and let's come together to do this. All right. But what I don't have is is the ability of magic wand to say we're gonna be unified. All right. But before I get started, though, I gotta do this like I always do. All right, like I always do. Share this live first and foremost. Share this live if you haven't already. Please share this live because I want to get some people in here who's got something to say. All right, but before I go, I gotta always gotta start with this here one thing because this is what's important. For those who don't know, again, I'm James Schuler. For those who don't know that, but for those who don't know what MBK is all about, Wayne MBK, we're part of the bigger My Brother's Keeper initiative that goes on. Well, we don't say initiative any longer. We say the movement, the My Brother's Keeper movement that goes on across the country of this place called United States of America. And It was started by Barack Obama when he was president, and after he left the White House, he continued this thing going, and New York State and a bunch and a huge whole bunch of other states. I mean, California, Texas, we're all over some places in Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. We're all over the country. There's MBKs all over the place, and the goal of it is to provide opportunities for African American and Puerto Rican males to grow and develop despite all the barriers that they may encounter, despite all the problems that we may see in the confusion we may see in America today when it comes to African American and Puerto Rican relationships with everybody else. We want to improve that, and we think we improve it by providing our young people with opportunities to be exposed to people doing things and being productive in areas other than just sports and entertainment. I'm not saying there's something wrong with it, but we at Wayne MBK and the MBK movement is about exposing our boys, our young men to men, not boys, not people who could parading around like they're men, but real men doing real things in the world. At MBK, my brother's keeper, we see our young men growing up into being more than just a basketball player. We see them being a doctor, or who likes basketball player, or who likes basketball, or a lawyer who likes basketball, or a judge who likes basketball, or not just those things. If they're good like that, go for it. But if you need more things to follow on just that, there you got to have some business background, you got to have some life background. So we about getting all that. And one way we like to do it is by empowering parents. All right, what I do is always have this folder. And I always start out talking about this folder. All right, I always start talking about this folder, and the importance of having a folder at your home for your school stuff for your child. You're going to need it one day. You may not need it right this second, but you're going to need this information one day, because you can bet your last dollar. I don't care if it's in 12th grade, 10th grade, or first grade. The school is collecting this information. And if you ever find yourself in an adversarial position with the school, they're going to bring this stuff out. All right, they're going to bring this stuff out. They're going to say, you should have this stuff. And they're going to hold you accountable like you have it. They don't care if you do or if you don't. It's not their responsibility. They send it to you. So with that being said, do you have your folder? Are you saving your paperwork? We're at the half year term now. Kids that took it in mid years, all that's completed. The report card is going to be coming out. You're going to know how much work your child has to do to make it to the next grade by the end of this year. You're going to know that real soon. Now, if you pay attention to it, you better do something, make sure your child makes it. But if you don't pay attention and you're not collecting your data, you're not talking to your child's guidance counselor, you're not communicating with the vice principal, all you're doing is talking to some teacher, that ain't enough. All right, so I'm gonna end with that little rant right there for a minute, because that's why I want to make sure we all understand, communicate with our schools, talk to our children. Have you sat down with your child? I don't care what grade they're in, and say, explain to me something you learned this week. Seriously, sit your child down and say, hey, come here. I don't care what it is. Explain to me something that you learned in math, something you learned in ELA, something you learned in science, and something you learned in social studies. Explain to me something you learned in each of those classes, because you've been in them all week. Give me something. And then wait. Okay? Try that. All right, now back to our topic at hand. All right, let me see here. I ain't did this in a long time here. Hold on for a second. I gotta do something here, y'all. I ain't did this in a long time. And I think for this one right here, I may want to do it, because I got a lot of things going on in my world, and a lot of people think a lot of different things. So I want to put this out. Pay attention to this right here, because I don't want nobody to be confused as to who I represent or who I don't represent, or what I do or what I don't do. All right, pay attention to this right here. All right, now with that being said, on with our topic. On with our topic. All right, I speak for Wayne MBK and myself. I don't speak for nobody else. All right, with that being said, what does unity look like? I mean, let's talk about this for a second. Where everybody says, hey, we need to unify. We need to come together. We got this problem, that problem, this problem, that problem. What does unity look like? Do we have in the United States of America, in the United States of America, do we have a model of social unity that we can say this is what we're trying to achieve? If we do, put it in the chat. I want, if you listen to my voice right now, put that in the chat because I'm looking for that there. What is this model of unity that we're talking about? We're trying to receive, that we're trying to create. All right. Do we have it? Have there ever been a unified or African American or black race, black or community in America, or on a large scale? I mean, there's been some small things that's popped up in the past. All right. There's been some towns, there's been some villages, there's been some little, even some cities that came together. But do we have that model, and what does it look like that we can emulate in a place like Wayne County? Let's think about that for a second. All right, what does unity look like? Because we said we're going to create it, and I believe we will. And I'm fighting real hard to help and get together with people so we can push it. Am I froze, y'all? Okay, I got to turn something. I got too many things going on. I got to turn something off. Give me a second here, y'all. Because I do not want to be froze today. All right, I close that one. Let's see. How's that looking? All right. If you watch me, y'all, put something in the chat. Let me know that I'm not froze. If I freeze, say something. Let me know so I can shut some of this stuff. Cause I got a lot of screens going on here, and I still got some work to do with my Wi-Fi. All right. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you. All right, now let's talk about it for a second. Let's go back to that. I asked that question. What does unity look like? We always talk about we want to come together. What does that look like? I mean, does it mean that you have to abandon your ideal and accept mine, or I got to abandon my ideal and accept yours? I was in a facility, in an institution, right? I was in prison, and one of the things that I had to deal with when I was there was transfers. You would go from one spot to another spot, and unfortunately, I had a lot of time. And because I had so much time, that meant I spent a long time in the same facility. See, some people, they go in, they get 2 years or a year or whatever, and they'll stay in this facility about maybe 6 months, and then they'll go to this facility for 6 months, and then they'll probably come home or something like that. That didn't happen with me. I was in a facility I was in Elmira for over a year and a half, and then I was in Auburn for almost two years, and the likes. And in that time, right, things happen. You see, now this you're saying, what's this got to do with unity? Watch this now, right? Because this is all about how do we want to see unity? Okay, this is what we're talking about. How do we want to see unity? What does unity look like for us? Now, when I was in Auburn, I started growing dreadlocks, and my dreadlocks they were pretty long. For those of y'all that don't even see me or that came in contact with me when we was in Auburn together, my dreads was pretty long. There was big, fat, long dreads, and I was in Auburn until I went in '99. I went in the system in '98, and in 2001 I was transferred from Auburn. That's my first time leaving the Max and going to a medium, and at that time I get transferred to Gowanda. Of all the places in the world, I went to Gowanda. I had a reason for why I wanted to go there. I went because I had a relative. Unfortunately, I needed to see. I ain't seen them in a long time, and I knew they were there, and so I went to Gowanda. Crazy as that sounds, but I go there, and the first thing they said to me was, as soon as I got off the bus, the first thing the sergeant said on the bus was, I had to cut my hair. He said, "You got to cut those dreads off." I said, "What? You got to cut your hair?" I said, "Bro, you see how long my hair is? I've been growing my hair for a long time. When you first come in the system, remember I came in '97. When you first come in the system, they cut all your hair off, shave you bald. My dreads was down to here. And this guy now, he wants to tell me, oh, they're not allowed in the department. Well, I've been in the department since 99, 98. This is 2001. And you're telling me now that I'm not allowed to have these. So I went through a whole lot of stuff. I fought, and I ended up having to cut my hair. I ended up having to cut my hair. But what I did though is they had to force me to do it. So then I had to go to court, and then I couldn't find out I was right. I didn't have to cut it. So fast forward a lot of years. I'm not in the system no more because I'm thinking that's just a prison thing. So fast forward, I'm not in prison no more. I'm doing good things. I'm working. I'm out here in the community. I'm trying to give back. I'm trying to make amends for the wrongs that I did that led me to prison. So I'm trying to make amends. Trying to do it with the young people and helping out. And I have different people who like to have conversation with me, want to have coffee, lunch, and so forth. And I went out to lunch with somebody, and this person said to me that they had somebody that was working for them, and they wanted them to cut their hair because they had dreads. And I'm like, why? Why they gotta do that? Because they want something from us. So they should be willing to come to how we want them to appear themselves. So I'm looking at like, wait a minute. In order for you to accept me, I gotta abandon what I believe in or what I want. Now, and I bring that up to say this: is that the type of unity we talking about building here? Because that's not unity. Okay, and that goes the same on both sides of the fence. Now, it's not just saying, yo, if you're a Democrat, you're right. No, 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 no. It's not saying that at all. Unity doesn't say that. Unity doesn't say if you're a Republican, you're wrong or you're right. It doesn't say that neither. So what are we trying to build when we talk about unity? Because I know groups of people, right? I know, and I talk with anybody and everybody. I got books. I bought a book, all right? Because everybody talks about. We see a concept, we run to this concept, and then what we do is we run with it. We take them, we run with them. And these concepts become real. But we never study both sides of the argument. We'll take one side of the argument, and then make that law. And that's what I'm going to go with. But we don't know what the other people say. So I went and I bought this book, right? Because everybody's talking about woke. I remember back in the days when it was cool to be woke. You want to be woke. You say, wake up, bro. Stop being asleep. You run around. And today, there's this thing called sheeple. They call them sheeple. People who just follow people around. They don't have no reason for what they do, but they just do it. Sheeple. Now, sheeple is the same thing. When you say sheeple, that's like something that more modern or a lot of it's more of a political phrase that was used in mainstream politics. All right, sheeple. But it's the same thing as being asleep. And when you say stop being a sheep, don't be a part of the sheeple, don't be part of the herd, cut yourself from the herd. That's just like when we say, and people like me and others say, wake up, stop being asleep. Now, a group has maybe hijacked the phrase woke. So what I did was I wanted to know what the argument was. I bought a book, right? I keep looking back at it. It's called Woke, Not Wake. And it's really, really, really pushed by one belief about the extremism of the people who call themselves woke and how they need to combat that. I got issues with that. Y'all. I got issues with that. I think that they're right. They're okay to have their opinions. And I think on the other side, they're okay to have their opinions. And where our unity comes in at is when we understand that we can have these different opinions, but those differences of opinions, they shouldn't be something that says we got to be combative all the time. You know, that type of position or theory that we got to be combative with each other all the time. That's what's really dangerous. That's so super dangerous. We can differ. We can differ. I may not like something that you say, but I have to recognize that you have the right to say it. And just like you have to recognize that I have the right to not accept it. But what none of us have the right to do is to become combative with each other because of a position that one takes over the other. Because when you become combative, now you're starting to become from a position of entitled. You believe that it's your right to take this position, and they don't have the right to oppose you. You know, think about that. Think about this for a second. if they're in this little small community of Wayne County is not a little bit right around 90,000 people, give or take. Okay, the statistics this year, the last statistics they took was really screwed and messed up. So I don't want to sit back and quote none of those numbers because those numbers it's clear that everybody has said that the numbers for the statistics are incorrect because not enough people actually participated in the process. So for those people, when you see people today want to throw out statistical numbers and they're going by today's statistics, they're trying to pull some over your head, all right? Because they know the numbers are not correct. So I'm going to go with the numbers from before they did the last census. I'm going to say roughly around 90,000 people here in Wayne County, roughly around, give or take, all right? Because the census is all screwed up. But with that number, right? With that number, how do we take such a small number of people who are diverse of all types of different beliefs and so forth, and say we're going to unify? We're going to come together. How do we do that when we have such strong and hard positions that divide us? And on top of that, y'all, we have people in our community who have money and who have the ability to organize, and the people and they call themselves courageous, who would get out and they will push these ideals that cause the division. I seen a thing on Facebook, right? I was watching because I look at I don't like getting in arguments on social media. So I just stay. I don't think I don't see your comments. All right, let's get that out there. Don't think I don't see it because I don't say nothing. I just don't get involved in those. I'm not going to get into a public argument with somebody who don't really know what the hell they're talking about. So I can't type that fast. So an idiot can type way quicker than me, and I know that. So I'm not going to get into an argument with an idiot because I know I can't beat an idiot. Okay, but I see you. All right, I'm gonna say that. I'll put that out there. I see you, and I see your idiocy, and I hear the nonsense. I seen a post where cars was being stolen in Webster, and someone said, "What goes on in Webster soon comes here." I wanted to put in the comment, great way to spread fear, because you have no evidence to support that. Not one drop of evidence. Yes, there have been some things where people from out of town have came out here and done some wrong, but it's not new. That's what pisses me off, and that's what gets in the way of unity when you got people acting like something is brand new. Listen, I am not a native New Yorker. I was born in Florida. We moved to New York. And then we went back to Florida, then we moved to New York, and then we went back to Florida. I know a lot of people that did that, not just from Florida, not just that look like me. I know people who came from other countries. You probably know people that came from other countries. They came here and they settled, and they did things wrong. Does that mean that, oh, those people from France coming here, they're going to bring that nonsense from France over here? No. What it means is, we just got to be vigilant in what we do and continue to pay attention to our surroundings and move forward. Well, we can't just have people walking around looking for people coming from Webster way that's going to steal our cars. We just be more vigilant because we got people right here in our towns that steal our cars too. So how do we have unity when we have these people and this belief that it's their responsibility to talk about and point out all the things that cause division and say how you got to be on the defense and ready to fight against it. Kendi, Ibram Kendi, he wrote a remarkable book. Y'all. Guilty by association. I don't know who the Facebook user is, but guilty by association. Yeah, okay. I think I understand where you're coming from with that, whoever you are, Facebook user. Guilty by association. I think you mean that people who out here who do those things that go on in Webster going to bring those people out here. I don't know. I'm not a little clear about that guilty association comment, but whoever that was, let me know. Put in the comment more. Give me a little bit more clarity on that so I can understand what you mean by guilty by association. All right, because you don't on my thing. It doesn't have a name. It just says user. All right. Now, but people though, people, real talk. Can we continue on here? And I appreciate all y'all comments. I appreciate y'all comments. I want you to, I want you to participate. Give me a little more feedback, something I can deal with here. All right. However, now continue on. Let me continue on here. We can't have people amongst us trying to act like we got to fight each other, act like we can't get along. All right, unity doesn't look like that. Unity doesn't come from that type of mentality. Unity comes from the mentality that understands that we can have different views. You can look at you got a Muslim, you got a Christian, you got a Jew. They can all have their position. All right, and they are successful in the community. The most successful thing I've seen them do in the community, if they was able to continue to do it and not let it be affected by other politics and other beliefs, they allowed it to get a little bit skewed by letting other people other things get involved, like money and stuff like that. But one of the greatest things I've seen that Christian, Muslim, Jews did was they created this thing called an interfaith alliance. All right, an interfaith alliance. I think that was beautiful. That was a great thing. When I first heard about the interfaith alliance some years ago, I was like, wow, that's awesome. These people come together. They got difference in how they believe about the most fundamental thing that we deal with, which is when we die, where do we go? Because in the reality, when you talk about religion, God, and all that, the theme of that whole conversation is, when you die, where do you go? And what do you got to do to get there? That's the theme of any religion. I don't care. Now, once we understand that theme right there, then we can sit back and we can look at religions a little bit different. But they create this interfaith coalition where they all came together, and a bunch of different religions started joining in, and it was powerful. It was powerful, but it didn't have the effect that the founders and the creators of it wanted it to have. It was doing some great stuff, but it didn't have that effect that they wanted it to have. And one of the reasons it didn't have the effect that they wanted to have, in my humble opinion, it was that before you can do inner meaning just we all coming together on the outside. I mean, we're just interlocking. We're gonna connect with each other. We're gonna put aside our differences, like what we're talking about with Unity Festival. Put aside our differences and we come together and we talk about the issues that affect us all that we all have in common. Beautiful. That was beautiful. But when they stopped that and they just kept doing that, they allowed their great efforts to fall apart. Because you need also, for interfaith to work, or for anything to work, you got to have intra. Meaning us on the inside of it, us that do it, got to be unified too. All right. In order for the interfaith to work, the people who are doing it got to be together. You can't have a division, a divided Christianity, a divided Judaism, and a divided Islam all coming together to say we're going to represent Islam, Christianity, and Judaism, and we're going to do it all together. Because you're going to have opposition coming from inside. All right, you're going to have opposition coming from the inside. And when you have opposition coming from the inside, that causes a bigger problem. I talk to young people about this type of thing, not this topic here, but this inside problem manifesting itself on the outside. And if you don't address the things that go on the inside of you, it's going to show, it's going to manifest itself. All right. Now, that manifestation I talk to kids about is I use the pimple. Something kids can understand, a pimple. There's stuff that's going on inside under your skin that's collecting and it's trying to get out. All right, when we have that type of things going on and we don't address it on the inside, it's going to try to manifest itself. And we got to either pop it, get it out of us, or put something out and make it go back in. There's got to be some work done. All right. So when I talk about us unifying, we got in the interfaith alliance that they created, which was great. They got to have intra, meaning we got to work on ourselves. All right, we got to be able to come together ourselves as a group, and then we can also come together as individual groups that work together with each other. All right, let's see. Facebook uses an example. I'm from Webster. There are thugs in Webster, therefore I am a thug. Not so. I agree with you 1,000 times. That's exactly what we're talking about. I don't know who you are, my man, my person here that's just Facebook user, but whoever you are, I agree with you. I agree with you. All right. I used to say this a lot. In the city of Rochester, everybody's it's terrible in the city of Rochester. But let me give you an example of a street. All right, because I know a lot about Rochester too. All right, let's take Flint Street. Let's take Frost Ave. All right, down by Jefferson, where it goes over to Genesee at. All right, good. Okay, Charlie. All right, let's take Flint Street, where it goes from Jefferson to Genesee. A lot of stuff happened on Flint Street. And for those who don't know what Flint Street is on Genesee, though, when you get to the other end of Flint Street by Genesee, the Boys and Girls Club is right there. All right, that's what I'm talking about. You see, people that don't know anything about the area will say Flint Street is a terrible neighborhood. But they'll say it because on the ends of Flint Street, on the corners, people hang out and congregate. The people who live in the middle of Flint Street wish they were gone too. You see? So when we sit back and really stop and think about this, right? People, just like Charlie said there, Charlie from Webster said, we tend to say because you are part or live in an area, or you look like a people that do a thing, or you smell like, or you talk like, or your hair looks like, or whatever, that you value those principles that the people that look like that display. And then what ends up happening is people's prejudices, biases, racism, and all that starts to really manifest itself. Like I was saying earlier about Ibram Kendi, wrote a great book. He read a great book, and he brought out a concept that took this little country of ours by storm. And people were all over the place talking about this little concept that Ibram Kendi put out there. And the concept that I'm talking about Ibram Kendi put out there was anti-racism, how to be an anti-racist. Great book, great idea, great concept. I agree with him. I don't disagree with him. We need that kind of type of work. But where I see the problem is this: is not with Ibram Kendi in his work. It was in the people who studied it. All right, the people who studied it, they only studied his work, and then they started studying other people who studied his work. The problem with that is Kendi's book is not about his idea. His book is about his studies, the conclusion of his studies of Warburg. Okay. Good. Oh, Charlie. All right, Charlie. Kendi's book was a result of his research. All right. And a whole lot of other work he put together that was done by others, namely one particular person. He studied one particular person that a lot of other people studied, including this female studied him also. I forget her name off the top of my head. I got her stuff right here someplace, but I can't think of her name off the top of my head. But they all studied this guy named Derek Bell. And Derek Bell wrote a book called Faces at the Bottom of the Well, and where he explains how racism has always been here. All right. He explained how it came here, how it was used to keep not only slaves in check, but how it was also used to make sure that the white people who kept slaves in check stayed in check. Okay? It was a serious book. It's a deep book. Faces at the Bottom of the Well. And what ends up happening is, the reason I'm bringing it up is because you'll get people, right? They'll read Kendi's book, right? And they'll read it like, this is what Kendi said. No, Kendi is telling you this is what Derek Bell said and others. So when we read from one angle, we end up going out. Now we got everybody being anti-racist. And what ended up happening was a good concept became something where now you can't even have a civil conversation because you'll be afraid that if you say the wrong thing, somebody's going to chop you up into pieces. Somebody's going to, as they say, cancel you. But barriers to unity, in order to get around the division and the barriers, we got to understand what causes the unity, and then we causes the disunity and the division, and then we can bring the unity back around, y'all. And how do we? What am I getting at here? Because I'm gonna wrap this up in a minute or two here. All right. Well, maybe a little bit more than a minute or two. I'm gonna wrap it up real quick. All right. We got to understand what caused the division. All right. And usually what causes the division is some misguided individual who thinks they know something. All right. Some misguided individuals who think they've studied something and all they've done is watched a video here and a video there, or read a book here or read a book here. A lot of times it's started by somebody who's data drunk. All right, data drunk, meaning that they just got introduced to this concept that they're talking about, and now they're like it's like in church. I know I use these examples a lot because this I think these are things we can identify with. Back when I was going to church all the time, when I was younger and everything, and I was in the black church, we the Baptist church, it was a serious thing, y'all. My grandma and them, everybody used to say, my aunties and all of them would say, man, when the Spirit hits you, it makes you want to jump up and go tell somebody. When the Spirit hits you, it makes you jump up and want to go tell somebody. Absolutely correct. And when you sit down and this happened to a lot of tear down the barriers and build the bridges. That's right. But this is how you do it. You got to understand this, though. See, what happened is people got hooked on something. They seen something that made so much sense, and it was perfect time. As they call in some literary things I read in some different books, different settings. They said it was a perfect storm. We had a perfect storm. All right. Kendi's book, you couldn't get it no better than this. I mean, if you're trying to really mess the mindsets up of people, or really trying to test people, I believe maybe God was trying to test us on this with something. Because when you really stop and think about it, listen, COVID hit. George Floyd was murdered. Kendi's book dropped. We was all in the house. Zoom took off. Zoom went from a company that was making pennies to like the #1 digital sponsor in the world, making money hand over foot because everybody was online. Couldn't nobody go no place. We couldn't find toilet paper no more. Paper towels was missing. It took years before we can go to the store and buy a bottle of alcohol. Yes, the perfect storm brewed. And we haven't recovered from it yet. We're still in the backdraft of that storm. We're still being pulled along by that storm that was created. And that storm that was created has got us to a point where we can't even come together. We thought we were getting someplace. And then this happened. And on top of it, let's add insult to injury. All right. A new concept was born. Not a new idea, because this idea was around for a long time, but a new concept was born that this idea was attached to. All right, and this may hurt some people, but hey, it is what it is. Hold on. Before I say this, let me do this again. I may have to do this here. Let me hold on for 1 second. I'm gonna do this again. Let me do this one more time. Let me find this thing here. I think it's done. Oh, here you go. Let me do this one more time. All right, put this up here one more time. All right, now back to what I was saying, y'all. Back to what I was saying. This one thing, or that perfect storm, is this one thing that really fueled it. It really fueled it, and it was called mega. Not saying that you shouldn't have or you shouldn't have, but the reality of it is, prior to and I'm not blaming Donald Trump on none of this on Donald Trump. I guarantee you I'm not, but I'm pointing out the fact that something was going on and it was festering already. Remember, I used the zit analogy. All right, there was something under the skin already. We were working on that, Joker, because you get that pimple, you want to pop it. But if it can't pop, if it ain't ready to be popped, you want it to go away because it's aggravating the hell out of you. All right, so we were working on that pimple. We was working on that pimple called racism and hatred and all that kind of stuff. And I thought we was making some progress on it. Everybody thought we was making some progress on it. And then somebody came and put some dang on grease on it, put some oil on it, put something, anything that aggravates a pimple and makes it come back. And it happened in the form of a guy who was pissed off already because he couldn't prove that this guy shouldn't have been the president. He was embarrassed already. A guy who we know now who takes things very seriously when he's embarrassed. All right, and he said, "I got to do something." He became president, and then then you add that into the mixture, and then you add Kendi's book into the mixture, and then you add George Floyd into the mixture, and you just keep adding stuff, and SEL and COVID and no one working, and everyone, and everyone at home, and no one working, and so forth and so forth and so on. When you add that to it, and then you put this little, I can see, I don't know if y'all can see, but everybody that got a laptop, so I'm seeing this. There's this little white dot right up to the top up here. And this little white dot is a light that's next to the camera. And on the other side, somebody says a microphone. When you put that in your household, right, that created a whole nother problem. That created a whole nother problem to that perfect storm. And that problem was some people have three kids, 4 kids, 5 kids, and all of them were online at the same time. So you have all those cameras and microphones in your house also. So then all those kids and all those cameras and microphones was connected to other cameras and microphones that had more people. So you got all these people watching your house and you don't even know it. You got all these things going on, and the whole thing was a freaking nightmare. It was a nightmare, y'all. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was a nightmare. It was a perfect storm to land us right where we at right now. And the sad thing about the whole thing is this is why unity, why it's so, I think it's so important that we define what our unity looks like and don't act like we know what it looks like, because we have never had an example of unity in America. We've had some times where we were more unified, but we have never had that thing where we can sit back and say we were all together. I don't think that's ever going to exist. But I do believe that we can work hard toward it. But we got to understand what causes us to be divided. All right, we got to understand what causes us to be divided. We got to understand, first and foremost, do we really want to be unified? Do we really want to come together? All right, we really got to answer that question, y'all. We really got to answer that question. Do we want to be unified? Because I believe that we want to be heard. I think a lot of us want to be more at peace. A lot of us want to have an easier life. A lot of us want to see an easier way. But do we really want to be connected to or be seen as part of? As Charlie said earlier in the chat, I'm from Webster, and there's thugs in Webster, and therefore I'm a thug. Okay, that idea is wrong. That idea is not correct. But that idea is a reality of how we live and how we think and how we process stuff. Our festival, our Unity Festival that we're planning, and I say we because it's not my festival. This is not a James Schuler thing. This is I'm hoping it to be a community thing where we can have different views and different opinions, and people can come out and we can still celebrate each other, still get to know each other, despite us having differences. Our differences shouldn't be something that gets in the way of everything about us and what we got going on, and us being able to produce a community or a society that fathers or things for all people. Now it's euphoric. I know it's a euphoric idea. It's euphoric. But if we set our focus on the euphoric and we define the euphoric and we clearly put the euphoric out there, we can have something really great to achieve. And if we don't make it, because we know what we're trying to achieve, we're going to make some great steps. We're going to go forward a lot because we're trying to get to something that's great. Now, if we don't define that euphoricness, don't define our unity as in that euphoric way, what we end up doing is living in a mysterious, this confused state of what we call an illusionary unity. And that's that unity that get along where we get along, but we get along because, I just ain't got time for the fight. Which that really means is we don't really get along, y'all. We just faking it, as they say in the rooms, y'all. We faking it until we make it. No, we're not faking it no more. We're not gonna fake it. All right. I want us to really think about this. All right. Listen. I'm about to bounce here in a minute. I want to get this time. I'm really about to go because I got things I got to take care of. That's why I keep calling me over here, and I got a few other things I got to do. I got some things to do in the community today, and I got to do some stuff around my house. All right. But before I go, I want to say on my page, on my page on Wayne and BK page. I just put up a post. All the stuff that I do, I pay for it. I'm not complaining. It's all right. It's all good. That's why I learned this. If you want things, you got to work for it. And if you want to help and be part of a solution, you got to be willing. You got to be willing to contribute to it. So I contribute. But with this Unity Festival that we're doing, it's going to take a little. I'm gonna need a little money, and a little help doing this. So I put on my page a thing called Buy Me a Coffee. So if you can, and this is great. You know, see, I got my sax up there. I've been practicing saxophone. All right, I've been learning to play the sax, and when I'm learning to play that, what I've seen on the page on these saxophone pages that they do this, they have this thing called Buy Me a Coffee. So I went out, I found it, and each coffee costs $5. You can donate to me, and that money that I get is going to be used toward helping get stuff that we need for Unity Festival. All right, so you can buy me a coffee. Coffee costs $5. All right, you can buy as many of them as you want. I put the link on my page. Let's see if I can put it in here. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on 1 second. Let's see if I can get my link here for a coffee here. I hope I don't freeze, but I got to leave y'all for a minute to come back to this. Where is my Buy Me a Coffee at? Oh my. Hold on. I'm gonna buy you a couple. I gotta get my Buy Me a Coffee, y'all. Let's go to my thing here. Well, here we go. Buy Me a Coffee. Oh, right, the wrong button. Oh, y'all still here? But listen, stick with me, y'all. Stick with me. Give me a second. I'm gonna show y'all this. I'm gonna put it in the chat for y'all. All right, I'm working on it. Give me a second. Don't go no place. Hold on 1 second. Don't go no place. Hold on. Stick right here. Stick right here. All right, let's see if we can do it like this. View my page. How about this? There it goes. All right, here. Copy. Close this. Back over here. And I'll put it in the chat. I hope y'all can see it. Hope y'all see it. Let me buy me a coffee. Help me out here, y'all. We're trying to get things going. I'm trying to get some things happening here. I hope it pops up in the chat. If it's not in the chat, right? If you can't see it in here, I put it on my page. All right, you can go in, you can see it. You can click on it, and you can help me with some on the journey that we're trying to do. All right. Some more information will be coming out real soon on Unity Festival. I'm meeting with the committee. We meet every Wednesday. We make good progress here. I got some great people helping me out here. If you want to be involved, just drop me a link in the chat. Say, hey, I want to help out the Unity Festival, and I can add you to it. And you can help us out also. It's been real today. Remember, Unity is not this vague thing that does not have a look to it or something that you can tangibly see or imagine within your brain. Unity is not you dropping what you have and coming to join us. All right, don't do that. Don't think that's what unity is. That's not the unity I'm looking for. I want you to keep your views, and I want you to respect my views because I'm going to respect yours, and then we're going to come together. That's what our Unity Festival is about. It's celebrating the fact that we are great, we are good people. We can come together, and at the same time, we can do this and have different views. We have different opinions. We don't have to be enemies because I don't agree with you. I don't have to agree with you. You do not have to agree with me. What we have to do, though, what we must do, is be able to respect each other's right to choose. All right, y'all. Again, I'm gonna do this one more time because I feel that my world is making me so that I have to let y'all know because unfortunately where we live at today, y'all, people will they'll try to destroy you for no reason. All right. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.